Hi everyone. I want to read another book, and this is one of my favorite books. It is called Drawing from the City, and it is by a woman named Teju. And it is a story of her journey from her little village, which was in the country, and she was very poor. And it was her journey to the city with her husband. And she did all of the drawings in here herself, and this book is actually hand printed by silkscreen from her original drawings. And so, Drawing from the City by Teju. Here's the front page. Uses a lot of different lines. Really beautiful drawings. They call me Teju. Here I am as a little girl in our village. I feel at home indoors as well as outdoors, and my favorite place is near the stream that runs behind our hut. Our village is green at times, but often when the summer is hot, it is baked brown. The fields are empty and the stream dries into a cracked bed. Our house is tiny. All of us have to work for all of us to eat. It's not just us. Everyone around us lives like we do. Work takes us to the forest nearby. I never go alone. Pa and Ma, our neighbors and their babies, we all go together. It's scary to be by yourself among the trees. You hear things that rustle, whisper, breathe. I hold my father's hand tight. He taps his stick on the ground or on a tree trunk. He tells me that it is his way of telling the forest that it has visitors. Work is fetching water, gathering firewood, and fruit that we can eat. Ma gathers other things too, seeds, berries, leaves. Ma says you have to listen carefully in the forest. Chirping squirrels warn you of snakes, and the wind brings the smell of rain or a dead animal. We come home to do more work, cooking, washing, cleaning, and sometimes Pa and Ma go off again to work on rich people's fields. Pa also sings for a living. He leaves early in the morning, going from house to house, singing songs about God, love, pain, happiness, and in return people give him money or grain. Ma does not go with him. She loves to sing, but in our village, women don't sing in public. Ma chants, though. Her chanting is musical and soothing as she prays to the village goddess. Our goddess is armed and rides a tiger, and Ma says she is both kind and fierce. All the women in the village pray to her. They ask for different things: for rain, for their sick children to get well, for a good harvest. I pray sometimes with Ma. Ma tells me that it is the goddess who takes care of the poor, but I don't know about that, because we continue to be poor. They say the poor have nowhere to go. I'm not sure. When people don't have enough to eat, they take the train to the city to find work. A railway line runs along the edge of the forest. If you walk along the tracks for about 5 miles, you come to the station. A train runs faster than any animal or bird I know. I like to stand at the edge of the forest and watch the trains as they rush past. I see people looking out the windows. They are not like the people in the village. They are like faces you see on calendars or in photos. Lucky people, I think. They don't have to work. They can sit and stare at the world going by. I like to think of myself getting on one of those trains. I want to be on the move. Whenever I feel that way, I walk along to the station. I wait for a train to stop. And then I walk up and whisper, "Take me to the city." And then it does happen. We find ourselves at the station one busy night, waiting for a train. The station is a crowded place, and tonight there is no place to move. We are a large group of people on our way to the city. It's strange. I'm excited about getting on the train, but it's not like I imagined. A red-hot summer has passed, and after 2 months, there is still no sign of rain. Clouds of dust settle on our hair and clothes. We are hungry and thirsty. Ma has grown thin since she gives us what there is and does not eat much herself. I'm a big girl now, nearly 13, so I understand how bad things are. We have to travel to find work, to be able to eat. And so I'm ready to go, but not like this, not with a wan group of people with big bundles and worried eyes. We reach the city. Everything is on the move here, not just the train. People rush past, pushing their way through the streets. Only the tall buildings seem rooted to the spot, along with a few trees that stand guard on the other side. I don't mind the rush, though. The sun is setting, and I marvel at the lampposts that can turn night into day. Nights in our village are really dark. You can see these really interesting cars that she drew, and these beautiful trees down here. But all those tall buildings are not for us. We move on right to the edge of the city and begin to build homes for ourselves. They're not made of mud or brick, but of cloth, plastic, and gunny bags, anything we can find. We are to live in tents now. At least we're not alone, and so we begin to make a life for ourselves as a small community. And it's here, in our ragged tent city, that I grow up. 3 years pass. I am now a young woman, and Ma and Pa decide that it's time for me to get married. I'm lucky they find a groom with kind eyes. His name is Ganesh Bhai, and he sings for a living, just like Pa did back in the village. And this is their wedding day she drew. Ganesh Bhai wants me to sing with him. I'm hesitant. Women in our community don't sing in public. But he coaxes me, and I remember Pa's music. And soon, between us, we have a range of songs on hope and faith, the passing of seasons, and of love and surrender. We become confident, decide to move on and sing for a living. All the way to Mumbai, says Ganesh Bhai. Who knows? We might sing in a film. I'm excited, but wary. In Mumbai, I see the sea for the first time. So much water. To stop myself watching the waves all the time, I turn my back to them as we sit on the sands, singing and playing on instruments we've made. Our hands are busy in other ways, too, gathering coins that people throw us. We need money to feed our growing family. Here's the beach scene. You can see the water up here, the way she draws it here, the beach, and people all along the beach. After a year, Life becomes too hard and we decide to return home. And just as we are beginning to wonder if things will ever improve, a piece of luck comes our way. Ganesh Bhai meets an artist who finds him a job as a singer in a restaurant. I feel bold enough to join him. And one day the artist asks Ganesh Bhai to try his hand at drawing. He gives him the paper and pen, and before we know it, Ganesh Bhai starts to enjoy himself. The drawings just come out of his hand. Will this drawing fetch us money, I wonder? Are we not better off singing? And then Ganesh Bhai says, "Why don't you try?" It's like magic. I sit in one place with paper and pen, and it is my hand that starts to move. Lines, dots, more dots, and you have a picture. I can bring to life things that I have seen and known, but also things that I imagine. I can even bring the two together. I have been moving all my life, looking for ways to survive, but this is a new direction. My heart is full. I see a girl going somewhere on a bicycle, and I draw a whole group of girls, all of them on their way somewhere. I like cars. I wonder what it's like to move at such high speed and to be in control of where you're going. There are always two women in my car. One drives and the other looks out the window. I want to be both those women. These are really cool cars that she drew. She wants to drive to control where she's going, and she wants to look out the window as well. I watch big, graceful birds that move silently through the sky. When I was a child, great flocks of white birds would swoop quietly down onto the branches of our forest trees and rest there for the winter. I decide now to draw a bird, but an iron one, large and complicated, flying from the city where I live. Or maybe it's flying to our city, carrying women on their way there. I send some tiny birds along just in case they need to know where to go. Pretty cool looking airplane. But even in the plane, my women are not content to sit still, and so I float them down, wondering where they should go next. Should they fly forever like birds? Or should I draw some lines, taking them down to the sea? I rest my pen here for a moment. I have time to decide. And there's a picture of Teju and her husband in India. And that is Drawing from the City by Teju.